All right, folks, an absolutely disgusting and infuriating story out of Toledo, Ohio. Last night, Sarah Seitner of CNN broke the story of brutal out in the open racism at a GM plant there in Toledo. Current and former employees of GM are suing the company for tolerating a racially hostile work environment where use of the N-word was common. Here's a portion of Seitner's report. Now, the two men she interviews were supervisors at the plant with six-figure salaries before the constant racism forced them out.
When did you notice overt racism?
Well, when an employee that was under me, he told me that back in the day, a person like me would have been buried with a shovel.
He said what to you?
That was a death threat, and I was told to push that to the side.
Boyd says he reported the incident.
He admitted to it, and I was pulled to the side and said, you know, if you want to build relationships here, you know, you just let things go, he'll be all right.
But he says the threats got worse. Were you afraid for your life?
Definitely. That's why I left.
All right, folks, GM denied there was such a work environment, but the Ohio Civil Rights Commission, after a 9-month investigation, found that GM did allow a racially hostile environment. And these are pictures from the plant. Ray Wood, former president of United Autoworkers Local 14 at the plant, and the current president of the Toledo NAACP, also filed a separate discrimination suit. He joins us now from Toledo. So, Ray, glad to have you here on the show. How does it make you feel to, on one hand, GM denies it, then all of a sudden it's absolutely proven that what took place, this rampant racism, was true?
Yeah, Martin, thanks for having me. Absolutely. They can deny it all they want to. I lived it. I was in that plant as well every day, as well as at the hall and in the community. You know, we tried to tell them as things were happening, as when the nooses started to occur, when the swastikas, when the white power and the white only signs started to appear. We tried to tell management then that they needed to get out in front of it, that they needed to communicate with the membership, even if they, and do an investigation, even if they couldn't find the culprit, which sometimes is difficult to do. But we told them that they needed to make sure that they didn't create or continue to create a hostile work environment. Well, they didn't take our word for it. Me being the president of the local chapter NAACP, I do a lot of training. We do mandatory training on Title VII and discrimination. So I wasn't just pulling something out my back pocket. I was telling them what I exactly knew that they should be doing. And I even told them this, Martin. I told them, if you don't, I wouldn't be offended if you didn't take my word for it, or if you didn't trust me, go to your legal authorities, get some legal advice and direction from the corporation about how you should handle this. Well, they didn't take that. They didn't take my advice, nor did they try to get the legal advice my understanding, because those things continue to happen. March 22nd, 2017, they found the noose. And then again, May 2nd, 2017, they found another noose. And then another noose was found in which an employee was disciplined on June the 2nd. The problem is that was a 3-month period. They did not communicate with the membership. Now, they lied on CNN last night when they said that they shut the plant down and had conversations with the employees. That's not true. The conversations that they had 3 months later was that there were regularly scheduled quarterly meetings that they had. And at that time, they never said anything about the nooses, the swastikas, the whites only signs. They just talked about harassment. And that's where they were found culpable of not securing a safe, non-threatening, non-hostile work environment.
And we're talking about folks who had high-paying jobs, who were forced out, and I mean that has deep economic ramifications.
Oh, absolutely. Though now, Derek and Marcus, they were salary people, and I'm a union. I was the union president. They have a different story altogether. Yep, they walked away from their jobs. With mine, the people on the floor, the people that elect the leadership, they were. It was as intense and as confrontational as I'd ever seen it. They're almost, they let that climate, that environment get to a boiling point where people were going after each other. It absolutely became a black and white atmosphere inside the plant. And yeah, those are good paying jobs, but you don't want to stay in a situation where you're not sure about if the person to the right of you or to the left of you, the person that you're going out of the parking lot, because those nooses mean something. Those nooses and the swastikas. It wasn't just that. I mean, they were, and they continue to this day, Martin. They continue to this day. Just a couple of weeks ago, they spray painted on my name and one of the other guys on the lawsuit, and I think I sent that picture to you where it says that Mark Edwards and Ray Wood were, we don't, the NAACP buried the N-word, but they called us the N-word, and that all colored should be lynched. It was all kinds of stuff being said, and we knew that they use a name called Dan, and Dan is dumb ass N-words, and there was comments made by members in that plant, and there was no repercussions about we were making too big of a deal out of the incidents. After all, there's never been a black person lynched that didn't deserve it. This is the type of atmosphere, and these are the type of comments and statements that were made. Yeah.
Well, Ray, we certainly appreciate you joining us, breaking these things down. We certainly will keep covering this story and keep us abreast of how your lawsuit goes.
I certainly will. Thanks for taking the interest, Mark.
I appreciate it. Thanks a lot. I'm going to quickly go to our panel here. This is I keep telling people, this is Ohio, Midwest state, labor folks, to understand how those folks think. It shows up at the ballot box as well.
Well, I'm not as concerned about how they think.
I am.
Forgive me. I'm trying to figure out where the lawyers are and where they've been for the last 5, 10, 15, 20 years. GM is a multinational Fortune 10 company with a huge legal department. They can afford and hire any law firm in this world. They do very often. And I got to tell you, in the 21st century, they've got evidence of a hostile work environment, pictures of it. And it's unbelievable that no one was sent in to do an internal investigation, do a report, and then begin the counseling or moving people in, moving people out. Because if you want to be affirmative in your investigation, then you lean in to resolve it. For example, those white signs, whites only signs, right? Somebody wrote that, right? You take a picture of that, and then you go through every file in that location.
Yes, sir.
You go through every file and you compare it. And then you'll find the culprit, and then you remove them from the circumstance. If that wasn't done, it's going to be a very difficult and challenging case and a strong one for the plaintiffs.
Well, GM says they're doing that, but they also earlier said that there was no racism.
But how long did it take to
Greg
get
and
to that
CJ.
point?
I was going to say very quickly, Sherrod Brown reelected out there into the U.S. Senate from Ohio with a healthy plurality of the vote. So some of these people split their tickets. They can vote for a Sherrod Brown who says he may run for president on this notion that he can talk to the working class whites. These are the same white people who voted for him who also voted for Donald Trump. Meaning what? They can separate their economic issues from their deep racism. That is a serious problem in this country.
Racism is deep in the North. That's what this shows also. Not just the South.
Absolutely.
Chicago is still a very segregated city.
Absolutely, CJ.
No question.
Well, it also shows that unions who typically support democratic causes are not always favorable to African Americans, because in this particular case, being that the union did not do their own internal investigation to address a supervisor who was also union, there is a problem.
He did. He filed a lawsuit.
No, I'm talking about the white gentleman.
Hold on, wait a minute.
They did not go against the white gentleman.
Wait a minute.
I can't believe she said
Wait
that.
a minute.
Let me do it. Let me do it.
No, you
No,
can't do it. No, you can't do it.
No, I'm talking about unions.
CJ,
No,
CJ,
I'm just being honest.
CJ.
I'm being honest.
If you are going to make a claim, I really need you to be specific with your claim. What is factually correct, CJ, is that unions as a collective traditionally supports Democrats, yet police unions, yet fire unions, they support Republicans. Also, CJ, trade unions typically support Republicans. White union members who live in places like Pennsylvania, Ohio, and Michigan, and Wisconsin also typically support Republicans. And so you can't make on this show the claim that unions traditionally support Democrats if you don't specify what specific unions. And this issue is not a union issue. It's a white union member issue, because the operative word in white union member issue ain't union, it's white.
No, it is
And I'm
union.
not sure they
Because
have-
the
No,
union,
it's white union.
the union, no, through labor
Go
laws.
ahead,
yes.
okay, go ahead.
Listen,
All
I'm
right,
not sure-
all I know is this here. Republicans hate unions, but they all want to support police unions when they run. Republicans can't stand teachers unions. They can't stand SCI. They can't stand ASME, but they sure as hell love Fraternal Order of Police. They sure as hell love the Sheriff's Association. And so please don't try that, CJ. What you better be specific, because what I also know is that trade unions have shut out black people for decades from the economic opportunities. And guess who was the first union
And
group?
they white Democrats.
Wait a minute. What was the first union group who met with Donald Trump after he won because he was promising billions for infrastructure? Trade unions. That is a fact. All right, folks, back to that Roland Martin unfiltered video in just one moment. All right, folks, many of us trying to take our health seriously in 2019. And folks want to get healthy, folks want to get well, folks want to feel a lot better and lose some weight. Well, one of the ways to do that is working with one of our partners, the folks at D-Herbs. Yesterday, of course, we talked to the CEO, Dr. A.D. Dolphin. The D-Herb Full Body Cleanse is a great way for you to feel better. And, of course, look, many of us, how we eat, how we abuse our bodies, we ate all kind of stuff during the holidays. Processed foods, fried foods, you name it. And so what this cleanse does is just clean out the toxic buildup in your system. I've been doing it for this is like day 12. And so, yeah, I still want a good piece of chicken or some steak, but I can't. But between the raw vegetables and between the cleanses, that's exactly what it does. And so what we can all do, the D-Herbs cleanse together. You can go to dherbs.com, use the promo code ROLAND for a discount at checkout. That's the letter dherbs.com, or you can call 866-4DHERBS, 866-4DHERBS. That's 866-4DHERBS, and use the promo code ROLAND. Now back to your Roland Martin Unfiltered video. All right, folks, back to that Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment. All right, folks, many of us trying to take our health seriously in 2019. And folks want to get healthy, folks want to get well, folks want to feel a lot better and lose some weight. Well, one of the ways to do that is working with one of our partners, the folks at D-Herbs. Yesterday, of course, we talked to the CEO, Dr. A.D. Dolphin. The D-Herb Full Body Cleanse is a great way for you to feel better. And, of course, look, many of us, how we eat, how we abuse our bodies, we ate all kind of stuff during the holidays. Processed foods, fried foods, you name it. And so what this cleanse does is just clean out the toxic buildup in your system. I've been doing it for this is like day 12. And so, yeah, I still want a good piece of chicken or some steak, but I can't. But between the raw vegetables and between the cleanses, that's exactly what it does. And so what we can all do, the D-Herbs cleanse together. You can go to dherbs.com, use the promo code ROLAND for a discount at checkout. That's the letter dherbs.com, or you can call 866-4DHERBS, 866-4DHERBS. That's 866-4DHERBS, and use the promo code ROLAND. Now back to your Roland Martin Unfiltered video.